this over here really quick. I apologize. Let's see. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. So this morning, across the board, we have a risk-on profile, right? Oil is up about 42 cents a barrel. ES is making a nice rally. It looks like they not only that they trapped or they built in a lot of shorts for the overnight move. And NQ is still kind of faltering down there. It's up 23, but that's not exactly impressive, right? So let's go over ES first to start the day. I think that'll be the easiest way to start, right? And I'm going to contrast the downside move of everyone that was looking for a downside move in NQ versus why we weren't aggressively short ES yesterday, right? And to do that, let us profile. Let's bring over our profile. Start the day. Oops, that's not what I want. Here's an artifact. I'm going to kill this because I do not have my. Let me do this really quick. Okay, and sorry guys, I had to reverse that for a coaching session yesterday. I will have it fixed in just one sec. There we go. And let's get the link to the other. Okay, good. If it's already running, there we go. And you will now magically be able to see the other computer in just 1 second. Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. We should have launch. Great. Here we go. Okay, in business, TPO. So, there we go. Okay, so if we look from yesterday's open, right? Let's erase all these lines so we can see. What had to happen from yesterday in order to have a downside move is we had to get under. Remember, I'm constantly talking about the value area as kind of my neighborhood where I have friends or I don't have friends, right? In order to go lower, there's critical parts of that neighborhood that I'll go through, but we had to get below 26.15 yesterday to have any chance of going lower. See how this area, these are anomalies within the profile without going deeply into anomalies, right? This area needed to be repaired. So the first thing I know is that once this whole chunk got repaired down to 26.09, first of all, I was likely to find responsive buyers in ES if we could have gotten down there. Secondly, we never even made it into the value area, right? So these are things that you can use to go, hey, are we short today? For example, we're trading at 26.34 right now, right? So I know today coming in when I'm laying out my plan, what will it look like if the market's going to fall apart? What you want to do is take your journal and you want to write little notes in it to help you offset your emotional balance through the course of the day. Nice job, Peter. Nice job. So if you look at it, right, you come in and you go, okay, I know that I have to be trading below 26, 27.50 today. Write that down in your journal. Okay. If you're getting bearish, understand that any move back to the downside is likely to find a responsive buyer there unless there's incredibly heavy sell pressure. First time in there, right? So then we want to watch and go, okay, can I get underneath 26, 27.50? Yes or no? Once I get to 26, 27.50, I expect responsive buyers in this neighborhood because these guys, just like these guys helped us yesterday, these guys are going to try to defend. If they do not defend and we get underneath and we then find ourselves in a roadblock somewhere between here and here and we start consolidating underneath, we can then go to work in this area. The next part of the analysis is for the day, when I look at this area, right, let me put the pieces together for what a stretch would look like. So I'm going to take this. Okay. If I get underneath here and I know I'm trading at 26.34, I know most days the market has difficulty trading more than 20 points down. So from 26.34 and I take out 20, that puts me at 26.14, right? Right about here. What's close to that? This TPO, the TPO point of control. Now notice the volume point of control for this is all the way up here. It compromises this profile because once we trade down here, everyone who's a volume profile trader is going to look and go, there's no point of control here to trade against, right? They're going to look at that and they go, there's no point of control. So we may not get as strong a response and it would be easier to trade through here, right? You just write through. It'll be easier to trade through. I need evidence or I need help getting through this area, but that's 20 points down. If I stretch a little bit further and I go, well, what would be 20 points down from yesterday's close? 26.25 would put me down at 26.05, which would put me right here. Once I'm down here, down 20, there's two areas that are going to get defended. What I would consider a relatively weak value area low right here at 26.0775. Value area high and value area low are very dependent in order to work, that you have decent internals or you have something that's helping you out to stretch. They're not automatic locations, okay? Yet, as you'll see yesterday, see how we just traded past value area low? And if we could have gotten any sell pressure, it would have blasted right into the point of control. The fact is we didn't. Internals were strong, right? So when I get to this neighborhood, if I'm aggressive, I'm looking at 26.0675. But if I want a safe, quote, safe place to trade, I'm really looking down here at 26.03 to 25.99 with emphasis on 26.01 to 26.02. Okay. So first step in the day, we are gapping up, right? Everyone can see the mouse without a problem, right? And before I keep going, I almost completely forgot. Let me cover this real quick. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. My name is Simon. I'm sorry for not introducing myself. Most importantly, don't blow up. Control risk. I did not have a great day yesterday. I ended up the day down despite multiple opportunities. Thank you, Randy. Despite that, the fact that multiple opportunities were available to me to get positive, I simply made a decision that I wasn't going to go in the hole. I could already tell I was having a difficult day. I put it on pause. Okay. And I'm quite certain that I'll have a decent day today. So today in the gap up, I want to remind you of a couple of things. See how on this particular morning we gapped up over the value area. I'm talking about, let's see, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, right? If I spend the first 30 minutes and I do not trade into value area high, right? Value area high, the odds say that you will continue to push up through the course of the day and you will want to look at longs. This is a difficult concept for me to get for a long time as a trader, okay? I would look at it and go, oh, sorry, thank you. Do that again. I'm breaking out this day right here. I'm breaking out the 1128, right? See how we sat there on 1128 and we consolidated above without trading into the prior day's value area. Sat there for 30 minutes. And you can see we closed B period not fantastically. It traded out above the first 30 minutes and closed back into the mid to retest the opening print. That's what this all means. I know you can't see it that clearly, but it's there, I promise you. Here, I'll spread it out just a drop more. Okay, I'm referring to these two periods right here. I'll highlight it for you so you can see it. Okay, that is what I'm talking about right there. the first thing I'm looking for this morning is that, look, if I spend the first hour, these are half-hour periods, right? If I spend the first hour outside, I'm not going to waste a lot of energy looking for a short until what? Until I stretch at least 10 points. If you'll notice, we came up, this is 2603. If I come up and reference 2613, and then I start looking for locations where I can get a short, right? That's when we ended up getting the roll back to the downside. And if you'll notice, that roll back to the downside ended up being a break of IB high, impulse move up, and a retrace back to the 50-60. We went a little bit behind the 50-60, and then we continued up and pushed up on for the day, okay? First thing I'm looking for this morning is, do we trade back into the value area or not, right? I may not have a trade because I don't grab the trade right out of the open. Number two, what am I looking for in both NQ and ES? Because NQ is gapping. I'll go to that chart next. But 3 bars up. Wow, no one can see that. Let's fix that. There we go. 3 bars up. We open up. This is the gap. Wow, this is just one. Here, I know how to fix this. Simply will not draw on this, so we'll minimize it. All right, so there's 2 variants on a gap up, right? There's this variant right here. First bar is green, right? We gapped above prior day's high. So this is the first variant where it opens and trades sideways. This is great. Gives you an opportunity to get in. Obviously, within the first this is the first 30 minutes, we're unable to trade back into the prior day's range. We just tapped the top of what's considered Dalton's gap fill, right? Most people consider this the gap fill. Dalton considers this the gap fill, right? The variant on it is if I get a combination, let's say you take those 3 green bars. Well, and I still can't get the color to change. Let's try that again. You take these 3 bars, 1, 2, 3, stack them on top of each other. That's a traditional open drive higher, right? It's unlikely to fail, and you're probably going to get driven all day. Additionally, important to consider, right? There had to be yesterday a lot of people. I know this because I used to think like this. I would say, and I pointed out yesterday in the morning, hey, this should roll over. But once we were inside the range, I really thought we should roll to the downside. Well, I didn't mean to move that. There we go. I really thought we should move to the downside, right? So what do you think was going on in here when NQ was getting blasted? More and more people were shorting the futures. I promise you, more and more people were shorting the futures thinking, hey, we're going to roll to the downside in the afternoon. I'm not talking about sophisticated traders, but you'd be surprised how many traders are out there that are not sophisticated. And it was a natural thinking, right? We were having a rotation out of NQ into ES is basically what happened. All those people are going to have to cover at the open, particularly people who either sold calls, right? Think about it. If you're bearish, you're like, hey, NQ's rolling over, ES is going to follow. They sold calls yesterday, right? And then they figure, well, maybe I get the roll over overnight. Well, we're gapping to a new high, so what do you got to do now, right? So they're going to be forced in the morning, and you'll be surprised how much money can get thrown around like that, right? Plus, look, if you're a money manager and you're looking at NASDAQ rolling over, you're like, hey, I can wait to buy ES. I'll get a dip. No dip. It's the end of the year. They're chasing performance. More money pours in on top of that, right? What will it look like if it fails? 2 things. First of all, we should not trade back into the range from the open gap, right? So if I'm trading below my first 5-minute low, that's a reason to be cautious. You're going to look for supporting evidence to help you get the reversal there, whether it's in the tick, delta, or some other method that you have of reading the market to show that we're sold out, right? If you're looking to short, you want to get below your last buyer, and I would want to be behind the 62 retrace from today if we trend up, right? And if we push in, look for an initial response on the backside test. You want to see, do they respond off 2634? Then the next logical place is to respond off of 2627 to 2624. This is the white zone, right? I will not be trading the first half hour because I don't get the price action that's going on, and I need to see evidence, which all that means is I'm going to shift outside of the first half hour and wait and get a lay of the land before we go. If it's straight up today, I probably don't get a trade. That's all there is to it. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not grabbing it out of the gate. Secondly, I'm not eager to short NQ. It's way in the hole. I want to see if it gets exhausted, and I want to see how the two play out together. When the market shifts, I've got to make an adjustment. I know that the rotations have increased, right? 2634 to 2619, 15 points of rotation yesterday, right? We're getting 2609 to 2627, 20 points of rotation. If you're not waiting for a 10-point rotation in this market, to take the contra, you're going to get, and you don't have another reliable method to take it, right? You're asking to take a lot of heat in your trade. The market's sent a fair warning that the rotations are there. I would wait for the 10-point rotations down to look for trade location. Then I would add tick and tick divergence to the list of trades I'm looking for. Again, yesterday, getting above your last buy, if you notice when we rolled to the downside, getting above your last seller gave you great location for the push to the upside. It did not work in NQ, okay? As I've covered with most of my coaching clients, it fails on occasion. When it fails, I just accept my fate that it failed, and I slow my trading down, and that's what I did yesterday. I'll cover that in NQ in 1 second. Okay, what I'm looking for to buy today is I'm looking for a push if I can get into the white zone, and if considering the size of the gap, right, I'd like to see some help or some tick divergence, or I'm going to scalp out of here, meaning for 2 points. If I see failure out of a new all-time high, we trade back into the range, and I'll be watching tick. So this is in, the internals. This is important, okay? Let me find this. There we go. Okay. The internals yesterday opened up underneath 1,500. Strong, but not incredibly strong. Not usually what we see on a gap up, right? Notice on the gap, when we trended up, when we had a trend day up, we were over 1,500 at the end of the first 15-minute period. This is showing up hopefully on the screen with my mouse, right? The ratio of advancers to decliners opened up at over 1, right? Opened up at over 1, okay? I want to see confirmation of that. And what I'd also like to see is advancers continuing to advance through the course of the day. I don't care about decliners one way or the other, right? So you can see the picture was quite different, but it wasn't bad yesterday. This can still fail, by the way. This is not a foolproof. If we open up at almost 2,000, it's pretty rare for that to fail. You're really looking for excuses or ways to get long in this. So today, if we gap up and I end up with a reading like this, I'm going to expect, after watching it for a little bit, that we will probably roll back in to find responsive buyers. If we open up and tick is neutral, right? NYSE tick is plus or minus 0, more or less. I'm going to be very suspicious that they're going to have the ability to carry this rally forward. So I'm just going to have to, these are the things I'm looking to back up my view. So I know that if we gap up and we open drive higher, again, I'll show you one other day where we go back to that Tuesday so you can see exactly what it looked like. Again, you'll notice on the open, we were almost at 1,900 in the first 15-minute bar. They never gave it up all day long. You can see the ratio was almost up at 2, right? 2. So these are things I'm looking for to gauge the strength of the market right out of the gate. Afterwards, I'm not really all that interested. And I know this will just simply protect me from being short. I'm very interested to see what the interplay is between NQ and ES today. I don't have a clear reading. Let me go back to cover NQ. Does anyone have a question about my trade plan? I'm looking for 10-point rotations into key locations. I will point out where I'm looking for responsive buyers, but I'm not clear on the lay of the land, and it's the last day of the month, and it tends to be very unusual trading. If we do start to trend up and we get behind the 62 retrace, I will be looking for shorts in ES and actually in NQ as well, assuming that I see the weakness continue. But that's going to have to be something that's revealed later in the morning. I obviously can't anticipate that going forward, and I don't have any reason to short right out of the gate. Hold on 1 second here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. My daughter just informed me that her bus hasn't shown up. Keep me. Okay. Sorry. Minor family emergency there. She's typing me a very long message. I'll get back to her in just a second. Let's cover NQ really quick. Okay. The important thing about NQ yesterday when I went through it, you'll excuse me for being less than intense or psyched up about this. I just want to see. Okay. me share this. Okay, here we go. Obviously, inventory's long, right? And everyone's going to be pretty pumped about getting longer out of the gate. I'd be cautious about shorting NQ until I got confirmation. Let me get NQ up here. Here we go. Okay, this can be modeled, just so you know. Notice the difference yesterday. We opened up underneath the underbelly of the point of control. Everyone can see this? Yes? The mouse is okay still? Let me know if it's not. Not everyone has to respond yes, but if you can't see it, please send me a message. Okay. Notice how we open up on underneath the underbelly, right? So notice that each one of these points of control have been tested to some degree. So this doesn't count, right? It was the 23rd, 24th, right? This was a half day. This had already gotten tested, right? This had already gotten tested, right? So everything below, right? Everything below has really been checked up onto one point or another. This value area high got tested the prior day, which in my book, each touch weakens the area, right? Because you use up resources to get the responsive buy, right? So if you look to the left, what was the next area that needed to get tested? Was this 63.14. You'll notice they attempted to hold out of this area. And then we came down, and if you look all the way to the left, you'll see we finally came down into this, almost into these two areas right in here, this 62.91, right? Notice the top had been tested, but this is such a far stretch that they finally defended in this area, okay? The point behind this is not only did we have everything exposed, we had huge areas that were poorly auctioned below. Okay, I want everyone to see that. And I pointed this out pre-market, huge areas that were poorly auctioned below, and we opened up under the underbelly. Look at the distinction between that and ES, where we opened up above. We opened up above the point of control, above the point where we spent the majority amount of time. This is why ES had a very difficult time moving to the downside. It's because it had plenty. Everyone in here had supported it. Now, this has already been tested once, so it weakens the ability to hold, for this to hold the second time. And secondly, the points of control are well spread out, which gives this point of control, there's an NVPOC, right, sitting right down here at 2602. This is the logical area. If you're looking for a strong area for responsive buys, it's a huge stretch. My guess is if we somehow melt today, again, volatility is opening, so you have to keep your mind open to the fact that we could, right? This is the area I really want to be focused on. All of this through here needs to get repaired, right? You're likely to see counter rotations in this neighborhood in general, 2614 all the way down to 2608. They're probably going to look to find a way, an attempt to reverse. If the selling pressure is heavy because we've gotten underneath this location, this is the next logical area to hold. Okay, so my strategy today on NQ is to observe and then see if there's a trading opportunity based on what the internals look like and what the rotations look like and how strong the market is. I simply don't know. I'm being straightforward. Simply don't know how they're going to respond if we're going to V-shape straight back up. So I don't want to short it, right? And by the same token, I don't want to get long either. I want to observe, and then as the market rotates through the day, I will make my adjustments. One last piece. I'll have 4 minutes. Incredible. I actually have time here. Let me pull this over. Okay. Let me get rid of the overnight session here. Before we start, you can see we're kind of moving up. This was the area where we had difficulty getting above yesterday. Right here, there's a point of control sitting right here. This is NQ. It sits right there at 63.35. You can see we're moving up and above 63.35. I will be, if I were going to be aggressive, right, I would attempt to grab a long against this area. I don't have a zone there. I didn't anticipate that we would be above this morning, so it's not inside the trade plan. Okay, so if you're looking for an area, you can see that we tested both the top, we rejected off the top side of that point of control, and we tested the bottom side of that point of control. Both in the regular session, we broke below, backside tested, continued lower. In the overnight, we tested it, both top and bottom, right? You can see the rejection. Here, I'll push this out. Both top, both bottom of the area rejected, and they rejected through the mid. They did not reject the top, right? So I thought we blew right through the top there. The 50-60 back on the overnight, which is also going to be your 50-60 back essentially from the swing low, pitch you in the neighborhood, a 63.16 to 63.08, which, by the way, is where we rejected out multiple times. So I'm building a case for figuring out where I'm going to find responsive buyers. So this becomes one location, right? The other case that I would look at to find responsive buyers is here, right? Which puts me right into the 50-60. I know that we were rejected here overnight, which means what? I have people that are going to try and get out of their short. If they're short, they're just praying it gets back over here. Secondly, 63.43, 30 down puts me into 63.11. And in NQ, I'm going to watch to see if they get a little sloppy down here again and look for a reversal. So uber aggressive right here, 63.36. Not for me this morning. I'm watching, but if it comes right down and tags it, that is a valid location to try to get a responsive buy. That was the bottom. If you look on the rotation down, that was the point of control from this huge volume bar where they panicked to the downside. That's where all the volume went off. Likely to find responsive buyers there because I guarantee you someone tried to find a way to short that just like they did yesterday afternoon, right? Next area comes to 63.12 to 63.04, just simply based on the rejection areas from yesterday afternoon. We double tap that area. We double tap. We did reject. We tried one more time with a big volume bar, rejected again, right? And we finally rejected in the overnight session right into London Open. And then they finally got above, and that's what started us trending back to the upside. So this is most aggressive. This is probably reasonable. You can probably put in, if I don't already have a zone there, that 63.08. Let me go check to see if I do or don't. What do I have in that area? Thank you. 62. I need 63. What do I have in the 63s? Okay, there you go. So we're already at 63.10. So pretty close in this neighborhood. Okay, aligns the 63.10 aligns with the top of these two locations for the points of control. That's why they rejected out of there early in session, and we got above, and we backside tested that same area before continuing. So this is my aggressive location. This is my less aggressive location. I'm probably going to attempt to fish out of this location here, right, and look for a reversal back to the upside. This probably happens first thing in the morning. I'm not going to take it because I want to watch how it trades. We're opening up in just a moment. And then the last piece, I posted the profiles, right? So let me reset this. Oh, there's all my arrows. Okay, let's draw this back in. Again, I'm going to go over the first couple of minutes just so you know. So all I'm doing is drawing out right up to yesterday morning, okay? It's a multi-day composite. Spread it out a bit. Okay, there we go. See this huge area where there's no volume, right? See how this correlated? Usually we reject out of low volume node areas. You can see, right, that it got tested from the top. But when you have an area that's poorly developed like this, sorry, thank you. There you go. This is an hourly composite. This is not including yesterday's data, not including yesterday's data. We had this huge point of control. This is what Mike was trying to point out yesterday. I did not point out. They attempted to respond off of it. You notice they overshot it because you really had to consider that point of control, both the front end, the low volume node, and the backstop, and they still overshot it all, right? But basically what we were doing, okay, got it. Basically what we were doing is we were shooting through here, right? And there just was not a lot. This was the last little piece to help us out. And what did the market do? It came back to the neighborhood where there was friends waiting. You can see this huge volume build here, very little volume comparatively built up top, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, now watch when we add back in that same drawing. We do this, right click, new drawing. Okay, so what? Here, we'll just redraw this so everyone can see it. Let's erase all lines. As I redraw that same area, there's the old profile. We're just going to go in to include that bar. See how it was very subtle. All we did was we filled in. We still have these poor areas right in here, right? So what does that mean? That's your backstop right there. That's 63.75. Notice we are pushing right into where it looks like we're going to appear to attempt retest right into 63.51, which, by the way, that was your target yesterday, Ron, if I recall properly, right? When you get a big crevasse like that, it's easy to trade through, and that's exactly what happened. We just simply retreated. When the buyers finally showed up, they just pulled back to where the volume build is. That's exactly what we did. So I'm going to remove this. Okay, so you see the difference. Okay, we just filled in some of the space. We still haven't spent a lot of time filling in this space, so there's still a big hole, which means you can still push through there on the upside as easily as you push down to the downside, right? So worth keeping that in mind. By the way, can someone shoot me Globex high? I got to change it really quick. The reason why I bring that up is I want to show you now on ES 63.45.75. Thank you, Ron. Where's my ES profile? Here we go. This was drawn up to yesterday's close. See this hole through here? Make sure everyone sees it. Giant hole. Notice, no volume. Thank you, Randy. I'll change in just a second. Giant hole through here. Your point of control is all the way back here. Guess what? If we get underneath here, right? That's why I wrote everything through here is relatively slippery. We have almost no volume posted in here. This is the two ways. Profiles. Let me see if I can draw on this way. There's two ways to handle this. We can either rip right through this. What happened yesterday in NQ is the rarest forms, right? Usually what we do is this. In, back up from the mid, back to the top, complete to the down in a slow methodical motion, complete it down, and then continue on our way, right? Once we get here, it can go either way, but usually it chooses B. It finishes the auction, completes it back up, right? Option 2 is that we just slow grind all day long, all the way down like this, right? And what we ended up with was the rarest option 3 yesterday in NQ, where it slipped straight through. This is why I'm very concerned. So you can write it down in your journal, right? I'm very concerned if I get through from here and from here below those 2 points, below 26.24 down to 26.02. I'm very concerned about finding locations about this area being slippery. If you'll look at what usually works well and where you get two-way markets, so let me go back a little bit so you can see what it looks like when there's a different type of pullback, right? So, or why don't I have chart settings? I'm going to take you back to our last pullback so you can compare and contrast that. Again, by the way, internals are strong at 1,830. There's really no reason for me to be shorting this. We are already up 13 points. And let me plug tick in real quick. Wow, hold on one second here. Where the heck? There we go. We're at 2.31 on the ratio of advancers to decliner. 2.31 is the ratio. It's very strong. I would not be looking to fade this. At least I'm not. And tick opens up at plus 1,000. That's a pretty nice opening sequence. I'll just wait patiently. NQ right into the white zone. This is the 50-60 back yellow green zone. Again, poorly auctioned, which is why this is green instead of yellow or white, right? Obviously, every retail trader knows the 50-60 retrace. They're going to try and grab that for a short. If I were going to try and short it, I'd want to be on the back near the 62. This was the best area I could find. Again, I'm just not in the mode for it's weird how we traded the last 2 days, and when it's weird and I'm not clear, I just wait. I know I'll get a clear setup, so I'm just relaxed. Let me adjust Globex high really quick. 26. Great. So Ron's pointing out that the tax bill made progress late yesterday, and that Senate may vote on it today. Just FYI, just to throw up more stuff onto the map. Again, we're rejecting out of the 50-60 on NQ. I just don't have a clear picture, so I'm on pause there. And Globex high came in at 63.45.75. Let me adjust that. 45.75. So close enough for hand grenades. And on ES, 26.36.75. So I will adjust that. Sure glad I didn't put anything up there. Okay, so I want to do one last thing. I want to take you back so you can see what this looks. So this formula, this can be formulated, right? We were underneath the point of control. I want to show you what a pullback looks like. I want to show you what this pullback looked like here, so you get a clear idea. This is the day I'm referring to, back on the 25th. If you look at the profile back on the 25th, right? We'll start from this little gap, since this is as good as anything we have here, right? So right up to the end there. Notice when we opened up, right? See how we got up here and we had this large, no volume got filled in here basically, right? So what we did is we came up. Let me show you before and after. Hold on a second here. So before we got to the day, this is what our profile looked like, right? Let's just start down here and we'll come over here, right? That's what we were dealing with. And we had this huge hole, right? I would have been just as concerned. Notice we reject off the top. So what would be my requirement was that we got underneath the prior day. And if we started trading below here, I'd have been concerned. 25.42, I'd want to see some kind of move into this area. And then I would have said, hey, there's a pretty big hole here. We could move down, right? So look how the market actually treated that area. See how we came right down? We tested the top of the poorly auctioned area and we responded. We did not trade into the 26.42. I didn't realize I was drawing into the tick. But that's the bottom line, is we simply tested, right? We open drove lower. We had a rotation from high to low. Where was it? High was 76, right? By the following day, we were at 42, 30-point rotation, right? Intraday, we moved from 64 down to 44, 20-point rotation, and responded up, which is why I'm always going, what will we look like, or where will we be at if we close at 65 and I take away 20, right? That'll put me at 45, and that should get me into the neighborhood, right? It'll just have me peeking underneath this well-developed area, because I know it's well-developed because there's the most volume of this entire thing. And I would have said, if we get below 25.42, then I'm concerned. And obviously we know what happened from there is we just never got back in. This became a backstop, right? That's where all the volume is. So we've never come back in. You'll notice when we came back to the top, this became the top of that backstop, 24.55. And you'll notice we never tested back into that, right? Until right there. See how we came right to the top? Because they're working off of larger time frames, right? Initially, this wasn't very strong, and the stretch, right? So the stretch is the other part of the combination. It's two pieces: the point of control plus the stretch. So when you look, when we backside test that area, I promise you it's going to come up to about a 20-point rotation. Let's see. Prior day's close, 25.78. If I remove 20 points from that 78, I get 58. We shoot just past the 58 to the top of that 55.25, and we respond back up. So now I can take today's price action, 38. If I take away 20 to 30 points, right? Here's the problem with that. 26.38 puts me back at 26.18, right? Just underneath this little area where I might get a response. But if I can't get back above 26.24 quickly, my concern is in that area. This is exactly the type of area where if you can be sitting on the low at the last hour, you can sweep through this area. So just be cognizant. The difference between the 20-point rotations over what was over here and then the prior one that I showed you is that those 20-point rotations were coinciding with tests of large points of control, right? This 20-point rotation will be slipping underneath this volume build here. It's very important that it holds this volume build. Otherwise, if we get in here, you get into slippery territory. Now you can strategize from there how you want to handle it. But I know that if I start looking for reversals in here, this is the exact kind of area where we can show reversal sign, slip, reversal sign, slip, or reversal sign, and then slip, right? So let's go back over and look at, I want to go back and see, where's my NQ again? There it is. Let's go back to the overnight. Let's go to the 5 minutes. Oh, I need a higher time frame than that, 15 minutes. How about that? Okay, so I said overnight, where did I think that they would respond? Remember I said this point of control right here was very, very important. Okay, so they slipped a little bit past it, right? 35, we're at 38. They slipped down to apparently 25 out of the open. We did test the 51. Wow, we tested the 51, rotated down to 25, and now we're holding and trying to get back above. If they can't hold above, right? Remember the next logical target here, if we look at yesterday afternoon, right? There's two areas. This area down here is very interesting to me. That's 62.95. The other area that was interesting is this 63.10 location right through here, which I believe I get past the rip down and I come to yesterday's close. There we go. 63.15 is the point of control for where we spent after the rip down the majority of the afternoon. Again, I expect this area, the test in this area, to find attempted responsive buyers, right? And then on ES, where am I concerned? We started off strong. Advanced decliners are strong. Everything is pointing to a potential trend day up. What am I looking for? If I get underneath that first 5 minute print now, I would be concerned. That was a big first 5 minute bar. And my guess is that was short covering out of the gate. If we get underneath this and we trade back into Wednesday's high, right, I would be concerned of a rollover and a blow off. I'm going to watch it. It's a pretty good chunk of distance here back to the gap fill, right? So keep that in mind, and then we'll just have to see what the market looks like as it's coming back in. We are coming in for a zero tick for my zero tick traders. Again, I'm just letting the first half hour go. I don't feel like playing. That's all there is to it. Normally I do. I just need to see the lay of the land. I'll eventually pick up the rhythm, and I'll be able to make plenty of money. So anyways, that's my 2 cents, guys. The market looks strong out of the gate. You're getting your zero tick right here. If you're looking for the zero tick, there's nothing that says this will fall apart. I'm just having a trust issue with the market this morning, so I'm going to wait and see how it plays out. It's the last day of the month, and I never feel like I've had some of my worst trading days and some of my best trading days last day of the month. I'm just going to let it play out and see how it goes from there, and then I'll make my trading decisions. Anyone have any questions? 26.39 a quarter is 100% extension, by the way, of last week's range, and 26.4450 is 100% extension of October's range. Let them buy it away. I have no desire to fight them on this. So this looks like panicky buy behavior. Whether this is due to the tax budget passing or whatever it is, this is I know what I'm looking for when I'm trying to trade, and I know that I'm A, looking for the markets to be somewhat connected, or B, I'm looking for a clear entry, and I don't have either one of those here this morning, and I don't feel like high printing this thing. If this is the day we go up 100 on ES, I'm just going to miss. That's all there is to it. So I'm waiting to see for it to give me some better indication of where I can trade. So let me pull these charts over. I don't have any thoughts on Russell other than it's going straight up. I have no white zones up here. I expect the first test in the 1543.90 to give me a responsive buy, and I'm watching and learning to see what the character looks like here. It's a pretty big whipsaw, right out of the gate. That's 20 points, $400 a contract on NQ. So I'm just fine standing aside right now. I expect there to be plenty of opportunities, and I expect there to be plenty of volatility the last month. Volatility has picked up. Don't ignore that fact. That's my 2 cents on that. So anyways, that's all I've got. And I'm going to take a little break, fix myself some tea, and then get to work on finding a trading opportunity. I appreciate everyone joining this morning. I think one of the strongest things you can do as a trading coach and as a trader was when you don't recognize the environment, don't trade it, right? That's all I'm saying is it's hard when you're running a room. Everyone kind of says, well, what's your read? 99% of the time I have a pretty good read. I don't have a read today, right? Or the read I do have, I don't trust. Let's put it that way. And I have markets that are not in sync with one another. So I'm slowing my roll down. And once I see it, I will attack viciously. But until then, I'll lay back. Be back in just a couple minutes, guys. Hey guys, on this white zone, right? I'd be aiming for the back because if we get in here, people are going to shoot for this gap fill. Just be aware of that, please. Keep it in mind. So Enki is open auction with a really wide range. And ES is also open auction on the gap. We haven't pushed into Wednesday's high. They obviously defended there the first time. RSI test a value area high. We have traded through the open numerous times. It's a low confidence open. What that's telling me, Yeah, Daniel, that's why I'm sitting it out. They are. Yep. I'm telling you, volatility is expanding, range is expanding, and people are nervous. They don't know what they want to do. So I'm cool with that. I can just sit and wait. It's very important as a trader. Very important as a trader. Very important as a trader that when you don't recognize what you're being offered, right, that you go, okay, I'll sit it out. Banks are back into yesterday's range, by the way. I mean, there's just money shifting around so quick with people chasing it. My only point to that is, if I have a point, is that, wait for it to work itself out. That's all. There's no rush. I mean, NQ, man, I can see people having huge losses in that range, trying to make it extend out. And you know what we're doing? We're filling in the hole from yesterday's volume in that area. Again, if Peter, if they do, as Peter mentioned, or Ron mentioned, if they do vote for the tax bill, that's going to hang us up all day long too. So, you know, I can tell you that's a low confidence open on NQ. We've traded through the open. Same thing on ES. We've traded through the open multiple times. So I'm just waiting. That's all. I'm usually I can look at the chart the prior day and have a pretty good idea of what the market wants to do. I just couldn't last night. I stared at it and started. I was like, damn, I can make an argument for NQ V shaping. I can make an argument for NQ dropping another 100 points. ES, I couldn't. I thought ES, if it didn't get below its point of control, that it was pretty much, there was no reason to be short there. 30-point whipsaws on NQ. Man, I promise you, there's been some people that just got bloodied on that this morning. Guys, if y'all trade NQ today, just realize you're dealing with 20-point stops if you really want your trade to work. If you don't have ability to get precision on your entries, just realize you're working with very wide ranges. The market's advertising it. Trust it when you see it. We're holding above value. It's important that you recognize that. Push to new high without any 600 tick. Very interesting. No tick participation. Advancers over decline, advanced decline lines, pretty good, but that's a very interesting chart. NQ is not following either. It's holding above value area high. And it's just a blender on NQ. I'm just watching. Well, you don't know what's driving it, Daniel. That's a problem. If people are anticipating that the tax bill will pass today, that's, that makes sense. I'm not seeing any confirmation in the tick. We're seeing positive 132. on the tick, but it's at new highs. So we just pushed. We couldn't, you know, we closed back in below that first 5-minute bar now. Obviously, I'd be very concerned, and I would not want to be trading NQ right now unless I had really nice wide stops or I managed to work that edge of that area. I find it so interesting that look at the tick. So advanced decliners are fine. They're strong. They indicate continuation up, right? Tick doesn't help at all. It's neutral. And NQ is not responding to either market. It's on its own drummer. So just fascinating. So we got bottom of the hour coming up. Then the question is the break of the IB high or not. US dollar is getting crushed against the yen. Like I said, I'm pretty glad I'm not trading this morning. I just don't have a rhythm for it at all. Tick's negative. NQ pushes to a high of the day on negative tick. Russell reversing. ES below Globex high. I'd be cautious on that, Russell. That's up multiple days in a row. ES is reversing back down. This does not look like what a normal trend day looks like. So just heads up on that. I'm on standby here still. I don't recognize what I see, so I'm waiting. Guys, the market's trading like there's news pending, just so you know. It's just trading really nervous. It's not trading bad. It's not trading good. It's just trading like it's like there's algos all over the place. Just so you know. Just weird. Nice job, Randy. Randy took the Russell for 2 points. Alex, I'll take a look at it. See what you sent me. Possibly. I mean, I would expect rejection here. Yeah, I would say a push down. It just depends if that seller comes back in. I see what you're looking at with that low volume node. I'd agree with you. It's got to repair it. Also, it would be normal to squeeze the shorts back to the 62 retrace on this. That would not be unusual. I would agree with your assessment. I think are you referring to this area down here, the 6321 to 6310 location? Draw it up on my chart. One second here. This is what you're referring to right here? Oops, sorry. This is what you're referring to right here? Oh, I mean to do that, right? Yeah, I would say it gets repaired, then it comes back in. There should find support in this high volume area. If we're discussing the same thing, this is where we should find support today. It's a question of can we get there? And I don't know that answer. So the market's trading in a way I don't recognize. I think would be a good way for me to put that. Are we pending news at all? Does anyone know? Yeah, me too. Is eminent. Okay, thank you. Daniel's telling me that the Senate vote is imminent on the tax bill. Just FYI, that's inevitably going to pass, right? Definitely would consider this a news environment, guys. Just a lot of caution. Okay. Wow, CL had a pretty illiquid move there too. Was there any news? CL just rolled from 58 to 57 in about 20 minutes and had one bar from basically 57.75 down to 57, just cleaning people's hot clocks. So illiquidity across the board. OPEC news. Got it. Thank you, Daniel. Gold is also down. I'm pretty comfortable just doing nothing, like I said. Nice trade out of the white zone. Wow, I should have taken that. When you know too much, not good. It hit the 20% too yesterday, Daniel. It would have been halted for the day. 1150. Oh wait, I don't know if that's made on the. I agree. As a matter of fact, it made it clear I won't be able to trade it. It's gonna have to be in, I don't know, $100 increments for one tick. I just can't trade it, so I don't feel bad about that. I can totally live with that. Sorry about that, Ron. News environment, guys, just be aware. Is the news out? Because it sure is acting like it. What a hard environment, man. Wow. Have to wait on the news. Did they vote yet? McCain to support Republican Senate tax bill. There you have it. Back in a couple minutes, guys. I'll let them absorb the do whatever they're going to do thing. There's the 62 retrace. Nice trade, Ralph. You're on. Yeah, because they're all waiting on the vote, Daniel. It's just a news environment. I have my hands completely in my pockets, just not even touching my keyboards. Next comes the vote. Now the market just goes on hold. Everyone's trying to figure out what the implications are and what they're buying and what they're selling, right? So this is a perfect both emotional environment and potential OTF environment as well. I've had very difficult days. Every time we've had this tax thing, I've had hard challenges trading smoothly. So probably going to an early lunch. I mean, this is trend day up. It's turned into trend day up. We gapped up. We held above value. I didn't take that long off the Russell. It turned out to be the low of the day. That's brutal. So yeah, I'll just kind of wait it out. That's the 62 retrace on NQ. Wow, thank you for not letting me be not being short. Small gifts. Perfect conditions for a blow off top, by the way, guys. So watch the 62 retrace later today. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Did you follow your plan? That's all that matters, Randy. I didn't even take the trade, so I feel great that I'm not short right now and trying to make this thing go down. And what gave you the biggest clue there? First of all, it's a news environment. So you followed your plan. It's a news environment. Unless you had a game plan figured out for that would make it different. I think you did a good job. This never got below 1500 all morning long. Never traded back into prior day's range. Don't short it. Does everyone see that? It's a very, very helpful way to see the market, right? Because it helps override the emotion of I want to short. And two, the only choice you had was to take to buy the gap or buy the dip on the gap, which was fine. I mean, we held over 45 minutes. And look at NQ. How the heck were you going to – I mean, if you picked off the low, but it didn't quite make it to 22 and it didn't – and I had nothing else in there. I guess I could have shorted 63.50, but geez. This just didn't fit my setup for the day, so I don't even feel like I missed anything. I'm just watching the world go by. News environments suck. They're no fun. They're hard to navigate. I'll be back in a little bit, guys. Wow. Can you say we may have found a top? There was a quick 20 off the top on NQ. Hey, Daniel, now I was just adjusting the charts. I'm just watching it. It looks like it's a sell the news response. But again, how do you trade this accurately? Beyond me, right? So as soon as they vote for it, I'd expect another pop. Maybe that doesn't happen.